Hey guys, Editing Hunter here with a quick heads up before you get into this episode. The thing we use to record our episodes freaked out a little bit at the end, and something happened with the audio. So about 10 minutes in, you're going to hit a 10-minute patch where the audio gets really choppy. It sounds like things cut out and cut back in kind of randomly, and it's worse in some parts than others, but it kind of gets indecipherable, especially if you don't already have context about what we're talking about. So it's only that 10-minute patch. The rest of the episode is perfectly fine. I left it in because maybe someone could maybe get something out of it. Not really sure. Anyway, when you hit that, you can basically just skip forward until that stops happening. It should be roughly, like I said, 10 minutes forward, and the rest of the episode should be perfectly fine. Sorry about that, but yeah, that's kind of how it went down this time. Anyway, enjoy the episode.
Hello, hi.
Yeah, how are you?
It's been so long, a long 7 days since we've done this.
We are so consistent.
I'm so dedicated.
Like, wow.
I'm amazed.
Do we need to do the scripted intro?
Oh, shiz.
The
It's
real
been a
intro?
minute.
It has
You can
been
beep that out later.
a lot of practice.
Welcome to the Movie Overload podcast.
Yeah.
I forgot the rest.
You got it.
Where we will be
covering-
covering 100
yeah.
essential films, from A Trip to the Moon to Parasite and everything in between, except for Woody Allen.
Fuck Woody Allen.
Fuck
Yes.
Woody Allen. Yes.
Wow. I mean,
Oh,
if
good
that doesn't
times.
hype you up for the rest of this podcast, I don't know what will. Welcome in, folks. We're here to talk about some movies. We're coming at your ear holes every week with another film that you didn't watch.
Ah.
Oh, but we
Hey.
did.
We did it.
I watched
put
it
in the work.
twice.
At least we accept the reality that they're not watching these movies.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But if you've seen any of the movies we've covered so far, there's a good chance that this was the one that you saw,
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
I mean,
Not Snow
Sure.
White.
the previous week's episode, It's Wonderful Life, like that would probably be more viewed. But this
Nah.
film is relatively popular. All I'm saying is it's not like, I don't know, The Passion of Joan of Arc or something. Like, this is a movie that people are aware of.
I guess it
Is
would be
that true?
a little closer to the popular consciousness, but
I-
it's definitely no like Wizard of Oz.
I'm
or
assuming
Wonderful
that
Life.
like the target audience of this, like we cater ourselves towards the people who haven't watched movies very much to an extent, but I feel
Yeah.
like it is kind of geared towards like movie geeks.
Yes.
And as far as like a movie geek goes, if they were to watch something in and around this era, this would be high on that list.
This is true.
I had heard the title, I think, and had never heard anything else about this.
I kind of
Maybe I
understand,
just
but, like I
Live in
know,
a bubble of like
I knew it was
film
out there.
geek.
I feel like I came across it enough times to know that it was a thing. I didn't really know anything about it.
I see it like talked about a lot, and I was really excited to watch it, so I like tried to keep myself from knowing any plot details. But like I've heard a lot about it over the years, so maybe it's just my insular film nerd bubble.
Have you heard
I
of
didn't.
its sequel, Sunrise Street?
and
I'll see
That's
myself
that's
out.
your
and
clue.
the end of the trilogy, Midnight Avenue.
Whoa.
Ooh, hoo, hoo.
Anyway, I guess that's what we're talking about.
Midnight
It's
Avenue.
Sunset Boulevard, or
Sunset
I
Boulevard.
thought it was
Word.
pronounced Sunset Bonjour.
I was gonna say Sunset Boulevard. Period. As
Yeah.
it is written on screen in the first.
Sunset Boulevard.
Really quickly, also, feel like you see the title card of this movie very fast.
Like, oh, what am I watching
so
again? I
fast I don't
forgot.
even remember it.
What is this?
It's just you see the street name like as it's printed on the street,
Oh yeah, right.
and it just says Sunset Boulevard.
Good times. What is Sunset Boulevard? Tell me about that.
It's a place in Beverly Hills, California, where all the famous movie people live.
What?
It's like a real thing, yeah. I think
That's where we're gonna
think-
live
I
one
think-
day.
That's true,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
This podcast is gonna
like,
get us a house in Sunset Boulevard.
I may be wrong
You might be right.
because there's something that they also said about like the area's first like film studio opening on that street in like 1911.
Ooh.
So there was that.
This is just very
That's fine.
Hollywoody.
I know this movie is also trying to do things that are like kind of real. So
Yeah,
I
like
think people would actually live there.
Norma.
I feel like I've
Desmond.
heard people mention it
It's totally
Like,
real.
when I have friends that go out to LA.
Mm.
They talk
I've
about
heard it.
iconic spots.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I went to Hollywood and it was like I totally did all the touristy things.
Yes.
And I don't know. I feel like I vaguely recall a Sunset Boulevard.
Yes. Ready? Sunset Boulevard is a boulevard in the central and western part of LA that stretches from the Pacific Coast Highway to Figueroa Street. Figueroa. I don't know how to say that word. In downtown LA.
That sounds good.
So it's a long stretch of road.
So I guess basically what we need to take away from that is that even back in 1950, they were doing experimental things with film enough that they just made an hour and a half long movie about a road.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yes,
Freak-
Like it
Freaking
was
road.
surprisingly entertaining for just being about a road.
this is true.
I was pleasantly surprised. It started out and I was like, I am tired. I don't know if I'm into this. And then I got into it and I was invested.
Yeah,
It really
What is that?
really carries you through.
it's
I
pretty
do.
good. I didn't give myself a great watching experience the first time, but then, and even though I was kind of like sort of distracted and half paying attention sometimes, the second time through with you guys, I felt like it still worked better, and it's pretty solid. It's a good time.
'Cause it is.
Hmm.
I was once again doing that thing that I've done with a lot of the movies on this episode, except this is one of the first times we've all watched it together.
True.
And so I was like giving like very excited looks over at Hunter
Are you enjoying things?
because I was like,
What?
How
wait,
dare you?
this is so good, because I have a thing for narration when it's like actually pulled off really well.
Yeah,
That was good. That was cool.
It like,
it worked. Yeah.
yeah, when you give it, I don't know, narration gives me noir vibes,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
That seems to be how
Functions.
they categorize this movie.
I love it.
They were describing it as a noir, which I thought was interesting.
I feel that though.
It's
Excuse me.
it's probably my favorite genre at this point,
Pretty
because we've watched so
Noir.
many good ones on this podcast.
Mhm.
That's true. They're just so
Ugh.
they're not all the same either. It's not like cookie cutter. Like film noir, it's all the same. It's like this one was so interesting.
Mhm.
And apparently that's like why they kept it black and white. I saw something that was like it could have very easily have been in color.
Mm.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
like,
I
you
didn't
could
think
do
about
That was
that.
easy.
For sure.
But like they knew what it was and they're like, we're gonna keep it dark.
What the heck?
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a
did.
summary of the movie?
I didn't write one down, but I watched it twice in the last 2 days, so I can try and remember.
I believe in you.
Okay. So it's a movie that shows you the end before it starts.
Whoa.
I mean, it
That's
doesn't
deep.
overtly tell you that, but also it kind of does. And he's narrating, and he's like, "Hey, look at that dead guy in the pool.
Who's that guy?
Definitely not me.
Hey.
You're dead, narrator." And then it goes back in time 6 months, and he's like, "I'm a writer of film, but I'm not very good, and I just also can't get a job." Bwah.
Blah.
This is the best summary ever.
And really,
Sound effects
invested in
off.
this.
And he doesn't have money to pay rent. He's behind on rent, and these guys are like, we're gonna repossess your car, see? And he's like, oh,
See.
no. And then
Please don't stop. Please keep going.
So he goes and drives around, and they're chasing him. There's a little car chase scene, which is kind of cool. And then he sees this old big Hollywood star mansion that looks abandoned. So he's like turned into their driveway on accident. He's like, oh, this place looks empty. This place looks empty. I'll go park my car in the garage that is open for me. Thank you. And so he does. And he's like, wow, they sure do have an old cool car in here that probably hasn't been used in 20 years. And then he gets called in by, Max, the definitely not important person butler. He's at the front door. He's like, hey, you, get in here. And then guy's like, okay. I don't know what's happening, but okay.
Beautiful.
And guy's
You're
like,
killing it so far.
Guy's like, she's waiting for you upstairs. I'm getting into too much detail. Anyway, he meets the lady who still lives in the house. She was an old silent movie star, but now she doesn't do anything, but she sure does live in this mansion that looks really run down on the outside, but is decadent in an ugly kind of way
Chock-full
on the inside.
of things.
Oh boy, there's a lot. And she's like, I thought you were the guy who was gonna put my dead monkey in a coffin, but it's cool. You can help me doctor my script instead. And he's like, checks pockets for money and sees they're empty, and he's like, okay.
Okay.
He like, it's funny just seeing how like in the narration he's like, her script was terrible, and then in the actual scene he's like, it's pretty good, but it needs work.
I appreciate that so much. It's so real.
Yeah, just being like him
This
kind of
sucks.
playing and just like getting what he wants out of that situation, because she's clearly loaded
Right.
with money.
Yeah,
And a
that was
little
something that
logo.
was weird, because like normally in a movie like this, crazy person who hasn't been a star for a long time has like racked up a bunch of debt and
Yeah.
like has run out of but they're like
Right.
not, it was all like untaxed, and I was making like $1 billion a
Right.
week,
Yeah,
and
like,
it's
she-
fine.
That's true.
Despite
Just
being
got infinite money.
past her prime, she seemed like she was still pretty well off.
And receiving fan letters. People wanted her. Oh, ho, ho.
She's a star.
A
And
star.
just don't look too closely at the postmarks,
Yeah,
he
seriously.
says.
Man,
But yeah, she's very disdainful of film
yeah.
now.
Yuck. Ew, with like audio and dialogue and
I still really like.
Ugh.
Oh,
Progression.
I could save that for the end. Actually, never mind. But he's like, I don't know what he's like.
yeah,
He's a
I don't
guy.
know anything about him.
Joe? His name is Joe.
Joe Gillis.
Joe!
Yeah, and her name is Norma Desmond.
Yeah,
And there's also a side piece named Betty.
yeah.
Side-
We don't. She's not a side piece yet. She appeared once at the beginning, and she was like, "Oh, hey, boss, this movie script sucks," and it was his movie script, and he's like,
Oh, hey, boss.
"Thanks, I wrote it."
He's like, screw you.
So it was
Betty.
awkward.
Fuck.
It made him sad. Anyway, though, now he's like, all right, fine, I'll doctor your insane script. And I wrote notes about that because I thought I found something that doesn't have much to do with this movie, but I thought was funny. Because there was actually a Salome film made 3 years after this movie came out in
Ooh.
1953, starring Rita Hayworth as that character. And I looked at Rita Hayworth's page and saw that she was married to Orson Welles for a few years, and that's all I have to say about
That's
that.
kind of fun.
And
Was she a
The
silent
luckiest
luckiest
film
woman
star?
I
alive.
don't know. I don't think I've seen anything with her in it at this point.
Can you imagine being married to Orson Welles?
Wow.
Wow, everyone's dream until you realize that like he's probably not that fun to be around.
True. But also, just to be in his presence,
Yeah.
you're like, wow.
It would be good. Like, I don't know. See, I feel like I would want to be like dating Orson Welles, but not like married. because I
You don't
feel
wanna
like
label
you
it.
get to that point where you're like beholden to Orson Welles,
Mm,
and it's like he's already my superior in every sense.
that's true.
You
I
know,
feel like I can't level this up.
like it's hard,
Yeah.
especially like in that time with like the concept of like traditional gender roles and marriage and etc. Is like you got no say.
Shut up and deal with it.
Yeah, it would.
Boy.
But it'd be Orson Welles telling you to do that. So like,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
kind of take
It's
it.
like if it's a good enough sounding voice telling me to do shit, I do it.
I feel like, you know what? For you, anything.
As long as you don't shave that beard.
She's like, "Oh, don't go back to your. You can
do
just stay here." And he's like, then overnight, Max the butler to the mansion. I don't know how he did that, but he sure did
Max
that. So
is
he's
an
like,
animal.
surprise, you're living here now. Like, I don't know. He's
Sorry, I
like,
got excited.
I want to live here. You're gonna live here, and so he does.
In
And
the
then
garage.
rains, and it's like leaking, and they move him into like a normal room, buying him a lot of nice things.
And it's like-
saw, looking at stuff about this movie, mess up until now. And it
Gigolo.
basically is exactly what he's doing. It's just like wealthier woman who is basically just paid and housed. Just like that's like his role.
So we're like halfway between Gold Digger.
Except like
Escort.
she wants them there,
Right.
partially for appearances. That's maybe depending on the story.
Okay.
And then there's clearly some weird things. He's like, and he's like, whoa. At some point, I feel like,
Yeah.
and it's kind of
Yeah.
weird. It's as right.
To like save his own skin.
I feel
Yeah.
like it started out as more of a almost coder, but also like what is life without her anyway?
Kind of making that lifestyle more like feel like a situation. I don't really have anything. Like my
Mhm.
towed my car away even here. Like if I leave this safe here, and if I didn't, so he kept him there long enough. But then things developed away, kind of from his buddy.
Artie.
But then she's like, I want to write, and he's not here, and we should work on a stuff.
Beautiful.
And so then by the end, motivation to be like, I mean, it feels like he's kind of on the. I'm packing up. I'm out of here.
I'm done
I'm
with
outta here.
everything.
You are so wrapped up in your.
Yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
they tried to like visit the
Love that.
that was like a real thing, like a real movie set that they.
Oh,
I wish I was in movies. And he's like, I'm not going to put her in a movie, but I do want that. Don't tell her that I don't actually want her. I only want her car. It's another part of in the end, Joe being like, you're so wrapped up in this thing to stardom, but like, you just want a car. You don't actually receive fan mail. Your ex does.
It's like crazy control of his handwriting.
Yeah.
Adults have new ideas of what to like.
That would make me crazy.
do that on a-
like they played into the psychology of chapter. This is making me feel crazy, and then by the end, he's just kind of
Right.
Yeah. he's
in a
like
sense,
Mhm.
in some ways, a little bit.
Yeah, there's tension both ways. If he gets more comfortable, for sure, like you said, but
Mhm.
like there's some parts where it's like 6 months. So it's a while.
Talked about this in a film class recently. Someone did a scene from the coach was just talking about how we have to have like some kind of arc, like that are
Mhm.
in a completely stable person, even like living with a neurotic person for just a few days. Him after like the 6 months, and felt like you could see that much.
Mhm.
And I just thought that was cool. Like in the 50s, they were already playing very
Worked.
complex.
Totally.
And then the ending is also, and he's like,
Right.
look at this. Like, you see,
Yeah.
go somewhere else
Yeah.
and get married to that, my buddy that you were with.
Manipulative, because she's like, where does he go every night? And then finds her. He's keeping secrets from you. Blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, and then yeah, this is where I live and who I live with.
So soon after they like profess their
I know.
love for one another.
Yeah, it's very.
He's
very
like,
quick.
yeah. I was like, what the
I know,
heck?
it seems like maybe he's just gonna stay, but then after
Turns
it's
out
out to be a fatal decision.
I feel like
No.
I don't know, she deserves better than all this garbage. And
Mm.
now that
Yeah.
Norma's like outed me as living here and whatever, the best boy,
Mm-hmm.
and then
No, it sucks. It's
but
just
then he doesn't.
he's not gonna be.
Great Gatsby.
Yeah,
The dude.
She bought a gun because
I'm gonna die.
I have bad times, and then she
She freaking the whole like cutting her wrists thing. That was intense.
Yeah,
I was like,
I've
what?
now seen multiple films with attempted suicides in them.
Yeah, he's
That's
crazy.
true. Do you have any information on like what?
No.
No, there wasn't anything on that. Because it's a very Hollywood depiction of mental health to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, and she's very much just like wide eyes, just
Cool.
entirely stuck in like some kind of alternate reality, which is most crazy people have
Yeah.
encountered.
I mean, like, seems to be written as like a composite of some, and then
Right.
kind of fading out.
Mm.
Yeah.
And they like listed a few. Like, of course, this is a very exaggerated, imaginative. This was inspired by like Wilder actually like seeing these houses that look like big and empty and what would that be like? But like some of the people that they mentioned is maybe she was great in the silent era, but then like became really reclusive, and like that kind of seemed to be it. But there was somebody in like gamble a little money way, somebody, but like or Valeska Sarah lost, which was kind of interesting.
Mm.
Um,
It's kind of sad.
but about like she was trying to like sell she was the Virgin Mary and the Mother of God. It's like kind of
Crazy.
latent film stars who did kind of, that's the thought.
I kind of believe that because I feel like something that they don't handle well, and that makes them go crazy because they just can't handle being in the public and worth and value is, and then it's just stripped away, and you don't even get the like
That would
that. Like
suck.
for me, even personally, that would devastate me.
And
Right,
if you're
keep
just
going.
bankrolling a movie, you want to be involved in it.
Yeah, so there's just probably a lot of dark places. It's Wilder.
So we got a fun shot of him from below.
I was proud of
Apparently it
that
was
shot.
pretty hard. A few different ways to get that. They said the first time they tried like putting a camera in to literally just like shoot up, and they're like, that doesn't work. Box,
Yeah.
I guess. And I can't. What they did was they put a mirror on the bottom of the pool.
Cool. I can see that
I guess
kind of working.
That's
but like
crazy.
he did super,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what? I don't know. I couldn't really find any more detail on that anyway. So that was interesting. That was they were very insistent.
Right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So
opening
it's pretty
shots.
famous from what I can tell.
With Mary Pickford, I guess. She,
Can we talk about that for a second?
heck yeah.
Freaking Norma did.
Yeah.
Because she's a desperate, desperate woman with no for a man who won't pay attention to her. Walks in the room as freaking.
The neck rolls.
Yeah,
Right? Like she
and the
just
walk.
like gets the, yeah.
Oh, culturally, people saw this and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't weird.
Indeed.
Look at her go.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
And he's like, I've been outdone. This is 10 years after the last appearance of the Tramp. So at this point, their characters, right? Like he did Monsieur Verdot, who was also in this movie, which is fun.
Got a few cameos in this movie.
It's an interesting movie. It's definitely, but done in a way that feels much more like, I don't know what the word is, but like I guess since like a Steiner score to just like see this is emotional and dramatic because the score is like some line from Gone with the Wind that's very melodramatic. It works a heck of a lot better. You know, dramaticism. It's fun and it actually works for me, I guess.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane probably works better for me. How
Yeah.
it just like
What are those?
but it's up there for me.
Yeah,
I guess.
for sure.
And
Big
also,
fan.
I've just been sitting around but we didn't introduce ourselves
This is
at
true.
the beginning of the podcast.
Oh.
Hello.
My name is Hananana. I only go by
I get
Hananana.
to name myself.
No,
yet.
my name is
Everyone else
Hananana.
already named you, so it doesn't matter.
Just kidding.
Oh,
Also,
passing it over.
I don't think I would have come up with anything.
Yes, I feel really bad. I wasn't
okay.
trying to be
I'm
Shut
mean.
used
up.
to it.
Kunk.
What up?
Creepy little
Guys,
Huntero.
my favorite show
Hunters.
on YouTube.
Ooh. Hunters like it makes it so much more exciting.
You know that is fun. I've got him.
I'm so happy. Okay. Off topic question. Hi, I got an iPhone. How do I silence it? The switch? Like that switch?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Silent mode on. I'm not gonna touch that.
iPhones, they've got a silent switch.
A whole ass switch
Yeah.
to silent your phone.
Pretty pretty radical.
Okay, well, I've been trying to figure that out for a hot minute, so thank you.
It's fine though, because like this whole episode is like kind of off the rails anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of
We're
rambling.
getting
Sorry.
back in the
I
swing
feel
of things.
so,
It's been a
like-
full 7 days.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
7
like
days.
I do feel really like out of practice and just not in that like headspace. It's been so long since
I love it.
messing with it, but
7 days.
I'm trying
Because
kind of.
it's your edit. Gosh dang it.
Oh, yeah,
You
it's
got
fine.
to sorts this out.
It's just the performance part that's like,
The performance.
yeah, this. You know?
Well, the people want us
Yeah,
because we are
all
stars.
7 of them.
Aw.
I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thousands.
Hey, as far as I'm
They're upset
concerned,
that we've abandoned them.
I'm doing it for 3 people, and I'm looking at 2 of them, and I am the other one, and that's all I
Perfect.
need.
That's what this is about.
That's true.
Gosh dang
And
it.
if anyone else
Gosh,
listens,
dang
that's a
it.
bonus.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine. I don't cry about it.
You know what?
Hey,
Or
Oh.
who will be listening.
did you know that the movie she puts on in the middle is a real movie that she was in?
What?
That makes sense.
That's cool.
Yeah, I lost the note. Called Queen Kelly. Guess who directed that movie?
Cecil B. DeMille.
No.
Billy.
Eric
No.
von Stroheim.
Yes.
That's
Because
wild.
Eric von Stroheim, who is Max, which we did not mention, that's who that is. He's important. He
Which
returns.
He talks about.
We saw him in Grand Illusion. He returns. It's funny because yes, his character was her ex-husband, but also one of the big directors of Gloria Desmond. I just mixed up both names. Her name is Norma Desmond in the film, Gloria Swanson in real life. His character directed her movies in the past, but also in real life, he was Gloria Swanson's one of her biggest directors in the past, and is probably the one credited with making her the most famous. So like,
Yeah, that's wild.
there are connections in this movie.
That's
like
so
they
cool.
kind of do have a lot of roots in reality. And
That's
cool.
bonkers.
Cecil B. DeMille, I think, also had movies with her in it. Like they also frequently did
Mhm.
work together
Yeah.
in real life in the past.
That's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, it's there. It's
That's
fun thing.
it's so weird. Like at that point, why not just have her play Gloria Swanson? Other than that, this
Yeah.
maybe puts her in a negative light, which she probably wouldn't want to be in.
It almost
True.
kind of does. That kind of like happened because like I saw something that was saying like everybody else like had a career after this still, but like she was so good in this role that pretty much everything offered to her after was like they described it as like a poor imitation of Norma basically.
Mm.
Mm.
And so it was like she kind of retired after this basically because she was like, I think the quote was like basically feeling like she was only ever going to be a parody of a parody. And so it was
Mhm.
like, that's not what I want.
So like
to be.
peaked.
Sure.
It was her peak and her
Yeah.
ruin all
Like,
at the same time.
yeah,
That's
like
so
it was
sad.
so good that it
Mm.
was very, it's just, I mean, it would be just typecast, I guess, after that
Yeah.
point as like a specific kind of person. It's
That's
like,
sad.
Yeah, but like when you
uh,
were typecast as this one character that you were in like one of the best movies of the era
Right.
and one of the best
Yeah.
performances of the era, then like yeah, I could see that just being like I will never do anything exciting or interesting again then.
mhm.
True. So sad though.
But yeah, I don't know. It's cool that she like did just like try to keep it going. That she was
Right.
like, I guess I'd just rather stop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And did not go crazy, hopefully.
Yeah, one can
Yeah.
one can hope.
I didn't hear. It seemed like she was okay. Goodness.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I think I overrode you when you were going to say something earlier. I just realized. I'm sorry.
I didn't say
Did you
How dare
have,
you.
Fun notes?
I had nothing for her. All I was saying is that
I
she was
love how-
nominated for the first Academy Award in the
Yeah.
Best Actress category.
Yes, this
What,
movie.
the
wa-
first?
This movie was nominated for all 4 acting categories
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
and won 0 of them.
No, I was gonna say that's so deserved.
That's so that's how it is though. Like no award, like you can generally find the best performance of the year in the nominations, but very rarely in the person who actually wins. Case in
Mhm.
point, just checking in on a previous thread that we had, James McAvoy did not win Best Actor at the Tonys, which is like I think a
Poor
crime.
guy.
I think it's an actual crime.
Robbed. Robbed. robbing people is illegal.
That's true. In that case,
Theft.
Theft.
The
What was
Oscars and the
rightfully
Tonys have a
his.
lot to answer for.
I have issues. That's a good point.
No bail. That's all I'm saying.
I think it won for. I think Sunset Boulevard won the Oscars for like best scoring, best like story screenplay, and best art direction in a black and white film.
That's fair. I mean, it does deserve those things.
Yeah, still good.
It just deserves more.
Indeed.
I agree. It was so good. So complicated. I think this is dumb and small-minded of me, but in years past when I've been like, oh, old movies, my world of old movies that I liked was pretty small. So taking all these in, I'm like, wow, these movies are all like complicated and interesting and so different. Like, they're not all just simple storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Silly
There's a lot
me.
of depth in a lot of the films that we've managed to uncover.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect quite as much from a lot of these as I feel like we ended up getting out of them. Like I'm still surprised by like how weird the production was in King Kong.
Yeah.
Like there's
That's
just
true.
so much fun stuff. And then the stuff that we had seen before, at least for me, like Fantasia, Snow White, Wizard of Oz, is like the stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
why is that the stuff that like
Right.
we've all seen, but is like some of the like least interesting,
Yeah.
like the big
That's
stuff
true.
from the era.
Like, why is Wizard of Oz a classic and Citizen Kane is unheard of?
I mean, yeah,
I feel like
people have definitely heard of it, but they haven't watched it.
Things
Yeah.
that are easy but mediocre being popular is still true to this day. So
I guess that's fair.
True. That's so
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, well,
Not a
it's gonna be
fan.
nice when we get into eras of like, these are movies that everybody has seen that are also good.
that's true.
Not only
Yes.
because then, maybe listeners will feel a bit more engaged having watched a movie that we're talking about, but
Mhm.
also
We're gonna get there eventually.
because it's
This is
fun.
only like this is only like episode 20 or something.
Yeah, this is
maybe.
20.
20. Like
Mhm.
we're only that.
We're a
percent
fifth of the way through.
Like holy cow,
Woohoo!
we've got so long to go still.
We've got so much. But it is interesting though because we've gone for this is our like I think the span of the movies that we've covered so far and then 20 episodes is like 48 years.
Mhm.
And the next 70 years takes up 4/5 of the podcast.
It's true. Yeah.
Which is kind of wild.
It's gonna be a little slow,
Crazy.
But
Wow, look at us go.
So we've covered a decent amount of ground.
yeah. This is our first episode of 2021.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Wow. We crossed into the 50s in 2021. That's so exciting. We don't finish this podcast until I think 2022.
Yeah,
That's the
probably.
projection.
Yeah.
So
That would,
that's fun.
That would line up. Yeah, because if it's only one a week, yeah, it's
Mhm.
only 52 weeks.
2021 is the year of the podcast, people.
That's so true.
It is. We've got it just the lineup coming up, just so you're aware. We got like Singing in the Rain. We got like Roman Holiday.
Oh,
Rear
snap.
Window. We're Rebel Without a Cause. The 50s are like chock full of just like crazy good stuff. And then we get to Cleo from 5 to 7, which I am desperate to talk about with you guys now because it has some things about it that are very reminiscent of Sunset Boulevard, but with like French new wave shit. So
I
it's
love
like
that.
so good.
Nice.
Can work with that.
I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fantastic next year.
Fantastic.
A good time.
Aw.
I'm trying to look for other things that I wrote down about this movie. Talking about other old movies. I already wanted to watch Sabrina. I don't remember why, but I did. But now I want to watch it more because it has William Holden in it, who was Old Joe in this
Freaking
movie, and
love.
I like him.
He's good.
He was a good time. So him and Humphrey Bogart and Other girl.
Audrey
No.
freaking Hepburn,
Yes.
sir.
And
Yeah.
John Williams.
Oh,
Not that John Williams.
what?
There's another John Williams.
No
apparently.
way. That's weird.
You're
Anyway,
weird.
that's a random thing. But they were gonna pay a dude named Montgomery Clift to be Joe
Yuck.
in this movie, and they
Disgusting.
were actually gonna pay him more than they ended up paying William. But it was funny
Really?
because when they tried to get Clift on, he was like on it, and then at the last minute he backed out because he was like, "Oh, well, you know, I basically played the role of a dude who was like in a relationship with an older woman in like another movie I did, and I don't feel like I was very convincing, so I don't think I'll do a good job, so I'm just gonna go."
Huh.
And Wilder was like, "If he was good, if he was any good, he would be able to make any relationship like that be convincing. He's a hack."
Dang.
Turns out he actually was basically in that kind of relationship in real life.
I was gonna
Huh.
say.
And he
Uh,
couldn't make it. Wow.
Yeah, so
He was
I
in
think he probably
denial.
just felt really awkward. He's just like, "Well, I actually am in a relationship with a significantly older woman."
That's
Mm.
funny.
And that made me think too, their actual age gap in the film is about like 18, 19 years, I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's about how old their actors are apart. So
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
20-year difference is, they look about that, I guess. It
How old
works.
was he? Because he seemed a bit older than Betty too.
He would have been about 32 at the time.
Oh, okay. Oh, and
He was
she
born in 1918.
okay, and she said she was 22.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's a
So
big
even he's
difference.
I mean, she
kinda
doesn't
older.
look like she's 22.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Mm,
She definitely
but-
looks older. I know someone who looks just like her.
She did look
Holden,
familiar.
like, apparently one of Holden's earlier acting roles was in a production, like a film of Our Town.
No way.
But looking at the Letterboxd reviews, it makes it sound like it's not very good.
Oh.
If it's the one I watched, it's terrible.
It's pretty old. They said he did that and a few other things, and then he served in World War II, and then he came back to acting. So it must have been like in the 30s, I think, or something.
No.
40s. I don't know.
Let's see how many versions there are of that. Because
Probably a lot.
I watched it before my production of it, and it's so boring
Yeah.
and like painful
It
to
was,
get through.
Like, it was funny, like looking at the reviews on Letterboxd, they're like, this play is really good, but like this movie is not, like, it does not sell the story at all.
It's so bad. Yep.
Yeah.
1940 film.
There you go.
Wow, that's so funny. Yep, I watched that. Didn't even know who he was when I watched that.
Nice.
They like tried to keep this like theatrical essence to it, I think, with like a lot of empty, dark space, like it was a stage, because
Hmm.
Yeah.
that's how it's scripted to be for a physical play.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Oh
it
man,
did
it's such
not
a fun
work.
production.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
I
that
cool.
really liked
play.
It's
it.
fun.
Yeah.
But as a movie, did not work.
Tragic.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's interesting though.
The age stuff made me think too. There was some debate on how old or young the different characters were going to be looking.
Hmm.
So originally they were going to make Norma like, I think maybe trying to have her look younger to match him as kind of a weird way of being like, you know, they're not the same age, but like they can kind of still work or
Closer in
something. But
age,
she
yeah.
was just really healthy and already looked really young.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so like
funny.
they, oh goodness, what was it? Oh
They're
yeah,
like, "You're fine."
Wilder wanted makeup to make her look older, but she argued that she would not necessarily look old because she would be taking care of herself and all that, I guess.
True.
So she looked younger anyway. So they tried to make him look younger,
Oh,
I guess.
that's funny.
And that's what they ended up actually doing.
Huh.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
I could
Yeah.
see that actually,
He
because I feel
doesn't-
like the old.
He doesn't look super young, but I guess just in their natural states, they looked pretty similar despite being almost 20 years.
That's crazy.
apart.
I can see him having an older vibe about him.
Yeah.
His face.
Yeah, I feel like he looked a little bit aged, but not too bad. But that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I would not have expected that they tried to make him look younger.
Yeah. Right, like
Hmm.
he doesn't strike me as like looking younger than he actually is or anything. But I guess that's what they did. That's
Very
what the
well done
internet
then.
told me.
Movie magic.
There's another occurrence of a reused prop in this movie.
No,
How dare they?
Do you want to guess what it is?
I
You guys called it out in the movie.
car.
No.
In the movie, called it out.
I don't know why I'm making you guess.
I
I'm
called
just
it out?
stalling for time.
Which one of us called it out?
Both of you,
Really?
kind of.
A prop?
I can just say it.
The gun?
No. the boat bed.
The boat bed.
It was apparently also in a movie of the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that's fun.
And it
Oh.
belonged to a dancer who is already dead by this time.
Man, again, I'm just going to reiterate. If I don't have a boat bed when I am in movies, I don't want it.
That's
Very
fair.
fancy.
I don't want the career. I don't want opportunity. It's boat bed or nothing.
boat bed or nothing.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fancy.
Boat bed or
Standard.
So
die.
much.
Yeah,
That's-
literally.
Also leads into the interior design of the sets.
It was
Specifically
so
the house.
extravagant.
It was done by a guy named Hans Dreyer,
Well
who
done.
had been working since the silent films, and he had actually done interior design for a number of like actual houses for like movie stars.
That's so cool.
And like I guess maybe there was some criticism about like how the house looked in the movie, but people were just like, no, like they really do look like that.
Oh
That's
my
great.
gosh. it is this
Like,
way.
it's bad.
It did
but,
feel
like,
believable.
Yeah. So
Can
that was
we
cool.
talk about
No. Yes, please.
Betty's friend?
Yeah.
Connie?
Connie.
Holy crap.
She
What an
has, like,
icon.
One
Holy
scene,
crap.
Or
but
as I
wow,
like to
she
say,
left an impact on our hearts.
icony.
Icon.
She's like way too perfect.
She's so pretty. And
It's
she got
like-
like 3 seconds of screen
So it's like
time.
she has like one line.
She's
then
like
she just
so
drives
memorable
Betty
for
over.
that reason. Like
Yeah.
her nose.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Like, plastic surgery to look like Connie. They're like, what do you want to look like? Connie.
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 Mhm.
Icony.
Yes.
Make me Connie.
one.
Iconic
please.
Connie. Thank you for asking. Goodbye. Good night, everybody.
Brilliant.
That is it.
She's all that matters in this whole movie. Forget everything else. Just watch it for Connie.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Even if everything that we've said so far is not exciting to you, even if you don't like the idea of a noir film or something that like
Because you're lame.
has a
Ooh.
fun way of romanticizing Hollywood while also making it seem like it sucks because like both are true. And
Mhm.
if you don't like all of the depth and the darkness and the fun and the narration, at least watch it to catch a glimpse of Connie.
Just a
Because
glimpse.
holy crap.
to bask in her perfection.
It was funny while we were watching it when we were both just like, wow.
I know. I didn't want to sound weird, but I was
I
just
didn't
like,
either.
wow, she's like so pretty. They just show her driving the car, and I was like, okay.
The real star.
Blew my mind.
Seriously. Betty's over here like, okay, whatever.
I guess there was some criticism about the narration from some people talking
No.
about the movie. But even the I didn't write down the specific quote, but like even the person they called out for criticizing the narration was still like the movie works regardless.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the narration.
I did
I know
too.
we've generally been talking positively of it, but I did want to say again, I do think it works. Like narration doesn't always work, but it did feel like it made sense for his character being a writer, and it made it feel almost literary at times.
It did. It
in
added to
in
the.
a good
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
Like
There's just more storytelling.
And it
It's
felt like it works more because it's about like a screenwriter.
mhm.
And so it's
Totally,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, if a screenwriter were gonna like obsessively after their own death write a movie about the things that they experienced over the last 6
Yeah.
months, it would be like so heavily
True.
narrated.
Yeah, there was this great criticism on there too about being like criticizing the writing in the narration for being like a lot of weird sarcasm, but then they're like it actually ends up working as a weird form of characterization because he's just kind of a hack writer and he probably would talk like that.
Uh-huh.
Like-
yeah.
That's true.
Like that's the bit that makes it really work. Yeah.
so
Yeah,
funny.
it's interesting. It's a
Just-
good touch.
Fit the tone of the movie so
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like if you took it out, I think something genuinely would be lost.
Yeah. Or that they wouldn't be able to play with, like you mentioned earlier, him being like, yeah, it's good. It just needs some work. It's
Yeah.
like now they can really play
It's
with,
kind
like,
of
it's terrible.
Humorous and
Like
yeah,
his
like,
inner thoughts.
it does add information that is like I'm all for giving information, subtly and visually and whatnot, indirectly, if you will, but it still is good. Anyway, that's the thing.
It's a good
Oh,
it's a
Connie.
good time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Our group text goes off and I say, what is this? A picture of our Connie. I'm inspired.
Yep. We're all getting plastic surgery.
Wow.
We're gonna be the Connie squad.
Literally
Man.
so pretty. I'll just post a picture of her on the Instagram right now.
Yep. No, you should. Okay. At
Do
the
it.
very least, if you're not gonna watch the movie, at least go onto our Instagram at movie overload pod.
Good job.
And check out just a picture of Connie.
That's it. Just do that.
We're gonna start the Connie fandom.
Connie fan club.
Yes.
That
Ooh.
sounds so.
One writer described this movie as the definitive Hollywood horror movie, which
Oh,
was kind of funny because they're like, oh, like it does have some kind of trappings of horror in a weird way, and like
it does.
she's almost like this Dracula-esque figure who like seduces him into her home and like keeps him there and is like weird, and there's all these things that you could kind of make parallels, and it's not
That's
really
fair.
trying, but like parts of it are like, yeah, this is scary and concerning.
There was a bit where I was like, this is like vaguely rings of the Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just kind of has that weird tone to it
Mhm.
sometimes.
Oh,
Kinda
I
works.
definitely got Twilight Zone vibes, especially with the narration. That's what I meant
Yeah.
to say earlier, is that it
Yes,
reminded me of that
Agreed.
so much.
I think it kind of rang that a little bit in my head as well at one point.
And this would have
Yeah, I
been
miss Twilight Zone.
pre-Twilight Zone, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
That's fun.
I miss the Twilight Zone. I haven't watched that in a long time.
It's
It was
been
a
a
good
while.
time.
Yeah, this was like, I mean, it was probably written like 10 years before.
Mm-hmm.
That's
There were
crazy.
multiple plagiarism lawsuits
Really?
against this film.
Dang.
Yeah. There was one. The first one was like this accountant for the studio or something who said that she had submitted stories about studio life to them, and like sort of, I guess, like some were fictional and some were based on fact and like true, and we're suing them for over, what was it, $1.4 million at the time.
Hmm.
And it was dismissed after 2.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know how that worked out, but like, and then apparently a really similar one came up a while later and was also dismissed.
That's insane.
But that happened.
So that was there.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's a thing.
Do you have any,
I'm kind of running out.
you don't have any director bio stuff? 'Cause
I
I've got some stuff pulled up here.
did not
Billy!
look up a lot about him.
So,
TBH,
I mean,
go for it.
Billy Wilder is just like an important person to have on this list in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this might be his best known movie,
Yeah.
but also like he is definitely considered one of the biggest directors in the Hollywood golden age of cinema, at least from in retrospectively.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Oh yeah, The Apartment. That's another film that would have been on here if I
Yeah.
didn't do like one film per
So,
director.
yeah, like Sunset Boulevard is his most popular on Letterboxd, but like looking at other ones, like The Apartment. I've heard of Double Indemnity.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about Sabrina. I don't know about these other ones.
Just like
Fedora came up because
bunch of good ones.
People's in it again.
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely worth digging into him more if one is interested.
Yeah.
But so I guess he's the first person to win the Academy Awards as producer, director, and screenwriter. So that's cool. Just kind of did everything. Became a screenwriter in the 1920s while living in Berlin, according to Wikipedia. And then after the rise of the Nazi Party, he left Germany in 1933 for Paris, where he made his directorial debut, moved to Hollywood in 1933, and in 1939 had a hit with the romantic comedy Ninochka. Anyway, just kind of continued working on shit, started making noir films, and then just kind of became the legend. And apparently, that's wild. He died in 2002 in Beverly Hills.
Dang.
It's like he lived.
Feels so recent.
He lived almost 100 years because he was
That's
born in
insane.
29.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Wait,
no, my
no.
math sucks.
Oh.
I'm an English major. I don't know
71.
math.
73 years old.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
73?
He was born
Man.
in 29.
Yeah.
I'm so off.
I also suck at
I
math.
flipped the letters. I was like, 2020 when I said 2002.
Oh, that makes sense. No, I see
That's
what
sad.
happened there. That's okay.
All right,
2002.
math major.
Haverave was born that year.
Anyway,
Sister
that's cool.
of the pod.
Sister of the pod.
Aw,
So, yeah, it was a long time
it's
ago.
amazing that people were born after the year that I was born. That
I
doesn't
know.
make any sense.
What is that? It's crazy to me
That's
that people were
wild.
born in the 2000s.
Like what?
I cannot comprehend that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
people
crazy.
Yeah, what are
in
you
the
doing here?
2000s, I'm like early 2010s.
90s kid or bust. Oh, that's bizarre.
People were born this year.
Don't make me think about that. That's horrifying.
When I took care of children, and I was like taking care of little 5 and 6 year olds, I was like, oh, you were born in like 2011.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a random year to be born. Like, they
Yeah.
weren't alive.
That's wild.
Why would you get born in 2011?
Yeah, like, what is up with that? Like, yeah, early 2000s, fine. Now, fine, because you're babies. But, like, 2011?
Right. Like, I feel like to be a real, like, I don't want to gatekeep here on, like, personhood, but, like, to be a real human, you do need to know what it's like to, like, not have, like, crazy internet. Like crazy fast internet.
That's true.
You know?
I agree.
Like, we had, like, the Winnie the Pooh game, like, loaded up on a disk drive
So
on,
did
like,
we.
Windows, like, what is that, XP or something?
Yes.
2000.
Yeah, maybe something like that, yeah. Yeah, probably was
I mean,
2000.
I remember XP for most of my life at that point, but I probably had 2000 before that.
Yeah.
Something.
Anyway, but like that's the bar that you like. If you didn't have
That's
like a
it.
Leap Pad, if you had an iPad, you're not a person.
You're not real.
You're not. I don't believe
You're
you
just
exist.
this like little creation from the government or something.
Yeah.
You little robot alien.
And like, sure, if you're older than that, even like, yeah, you technically exist. But like,
Yeah. But
do
leap
you
pads
really?
are bust.
Leap Pads. Mhm.
Yes.
That's the only good era of humanity.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's so good. Also, I apologize for ramming my full body into the microphone.
That's totally understandable.
I got really angry about the leap pads. And then I wasn't born just looking like Connie. Like,
It's
I'm
not
just
my
so
edit,
upset.
so, yeah. So like, honestly, take out all your frustration on the microphones. I'll join you.
I'll just like smack it.
Guys, this isn't an ASMR episode.
Oh yeah,
I'm punching it.
I forgot that was the thing.
I don't know if we ever edited
I don't think
that.
we ever did
Uh,
because it
follow
wasn't
us on
very good.
Patreon.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
If we get people to follow us on Patreon, we'll do stuff. We'll do stuff.
Do we
Yeah.
give the horse when the do we give the water when the horse comes, or do we get water to lead a horse to?
What?
Thanks.
Tiny horse.
I mean, you're probably right. We should probably start making.
I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
We should probably at least have a backlog of podcasts, because if I was looking at a Patreon and it had no content on it, I wouldn't be
What?
contributing
It's
to that
part of the
Patreon.
appeal, I suppose.
But
'Cause
by
then
the
when
time you're
trying to-
listening to this, oh man, there's so much up there. You
There's
should
so
really
much
like.
content.
Totally.
You should check it out.
Today, January
sure.
6th, or whenever this is
Yeah,
coming
there's so
out.
much.
Today.
It's only been 7 days.
Ah.
Yeah,
haha.
we're just gonna spend the next 7. Well, I guess we are recording it like. Well, it's hard to explain, right? Because like, sure, we have to record it a little bit ahead of time, so we have time to put up the Patreon podcast. But at the same time, we also have to re-record every time somebody hits play on the player. So I don't know. We've done this 100
This is
times
true.
now. That's why it sounds kind of meandering.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you caught the one where people stopped listening fresh.
right.
I know.
We've actually been able to go the longest of all the takes with this one that you were
Incredible.
listening to
Good
in particular
point.
now.
Oh no.
You know,
Oh
somebody
gosh.
started
I
at
think
like 5 minutes before you started it, and we had to re-record 5 minutes of podcast, and it sucks.
someone just hit play.
Oh my god.
Can we get the intro
Welcome
again?
to the Movie Overload podcast, where we will be covering 100 essential films. That's it.
I'm Skunk.
I'm Hananana.
I'm Huntero Cactus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And today we're gonna be covering Sunset Boulevard,
Sunrise Street.
Midnight
Avenue.
Avenue. Thanks.
Have you all seen Avenue Q?
No.
What?
Have you seen Before Sunrise, Before Sunset,
No.
or Before Midnight?
No.
Yeah.
Because those are all good.
I'm
Really?
sorry.
Are they real?
Yes.
What?
They
Yeah.
have
That's what I was
a
referencing.
boy in them.
Oh.
They have. Wait, Ethan Hawke is the boy for you?
He's a boy.
See, like, my selling point is Julie Delpy.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
You're, like, so dead to me.
You're like, you know what? Actually, just don't talk to me.
I'm sorry. Did you think I watch movies or something?
I guess I.
I
didn't
tell
think of it.
everyone that I don't watch movies
Movies are disgusting.
because I
You're right.
don't. I do.
Oh, just-
It's really sad. I do. I watch movies for the podcast and with friendos, but I'm really bad at watching movies on my own,
That's
and
fair
thus
though.
I do not get a lot of movie watching in as
Well-
much as I would like. I spend my time on other dumber things.
We love dumb
Okay,
things.
well then, brief detail on who Julie Delpy is.
Okay.
She's the best.
Oh.
Okay, she's amazing. She played. Oh, you'd know this. She played lipstick lesbian in "But I'm a Cheerleader."
Would not know that. Sad face.
Lipstick
Sad face.
lesbian.
She's in the Three Colors trilogy,
That sounds amazing.
and she's in the Before trilogy.
I'm shrugging. You can't see it, but I'm shrugging.
She had more roles in
Shrug.
the '90s. Okay,
These are all movies that I am very
Okay.
like hyper aware of and absolutely will watch.
She's in Europa,
Not that one.
Voyager,
No,
American
Okay.
Werewolf, an American Werewolf in Paris.
I do need. No.
We are covering that one.
Okay. That's
So
what I was
we're
thinking.
actually
It's
gonna
like, are we
cover-
watching it?
I think at least 2 movies with Julie Delpy.
Okay.
Oh, actually 3. There are 3 Julie Delpy movies on our 100 movies list,
Oh boy.
which actually might make her like
Hmm.
the most prominent person. I guess we'll see.
Amazing.
Very nice.
Incredible.
Yeah. If anyone listening wants to do the stats, you can find access to our list on movieoverloadpod.com. So
And leave us hate tweets at movie overload _
Guys, guess what? Something big is happening in the movie landscape.
Oh my god, what
Whoa.
is it, Huntero?
This year's best film is apparently out, and people are reviewing it. You know it, and you love it, and you want to see it. It's Monster Hunter.
Ah!
is it out?
Apparently, people are watching it and reviewing it, and it sucks, which surprises.
Whoa.
You just said it was the best, and now I feel misled.
Why are you like this? We were trying to wrap up the podcast.
Because I'm trying to make fun of that movie, which looks really bad.
do that
And
on the
apparently it
ASMR
is
podcast.
really bad. I'm sorry.
You're
I saw
really
it come up and I
bad.
wanted to talk.
You're really, yeah, gosh. Why would you be mean to Ron Perlman like that?
Yeah.
I do not want to be mean to Ron Perlman. He has my love, frankly. I do like him.
Frankly.
But I will try to never watch anything by Paul W.S. Anderson.
You don't like Paul Anderson?
Just kidding. I actually have already seen one of his movies.
Just kidding.
You've seen multiple of them.
I've seen one.
You
I've seen
love
Event
Alien
Horizon.
versus Predator.
Event Horizon has a lot of good stuff in it, but by the end, it's kind of wacky.
You
and
love
I don't,
every
I don't,
Resident Evil movie.
I don't like how
Big
Event
fan
Horizon
of
ends,
Pompeii.
but like the mystery portion of Event Horizon is awesome and really works for me. It's a
It's-
really
Valid.
kind of halfway cool, like dumb.
Oh,
90s
you love
space
it so
movie.
much that you gave it 2.5 stars.
Sure did. Did I? I'm gonna actually bump that up a little bit. I
It
bumped
does
up
have
to a 3.
Sam Neill in it.
It does
so
have Sam Neill in it.
yeah.
And
What is this podcast
boy.
again?
I'm sorry.
What do we do on
I drove
genuinely
it
don't know.
way off the rails
I have
here
no
at the end.
clue
I'm
what
sorry.
we're doing.
We're just
I
like
drove a
hanging
Monster
out.
Hunter shaped wedge into this podcast.
It's
I'm
beautiful.
I'm sorry.
That's not a
Beautiful.
good thing.
It's not.
Look, here's the gist. Hey, all
It's
of our 100,000 million billion gajillion.
every single one of
listeners.
you.
Listen up.
Heck yeah.
Watch Sunset Boulevard, or you lose. You lose at life.
You do.
That's just it. You
And-
just
Yeah.
watch it and you're good, or you don't and you suck.
And you have about 30 more seconds
Yeah.
to watch it. You have to finish the movie before this podcast episode ends.
Yeah, so good luck, you swine.
So thanks, guys, for the things and doing the shit that you do, which is putting us in your ear holes. There's a thing that is mentioned that we do when podcasts come to an end, and I, your noble host Skunk, will now pass it off to Hunter
Oh, noble skunk.
to do that thing, to say the words that we say when we do
I'm
it.
just waiting for you to finish.
When the time comes to say words, I will pass it off to my friend, my co-host, my enemy.
Maybe sometimes.
Enemies to lovers. That's me and Hunter. And now it is his turn to speak in 5, 4, 3, 2. Right when I say the next number in this sequence, he will deliver our final line of the episode. 1.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I picked. That's where the popcorn business comes in. You buy a bag, and stuff up your ears. I thought it was funny.
Glorious.
It's good.
It's the best one you could have picked out of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
It will
we
not.
we sell popcorn on our website if you don't want to listen to us.
Whoa.
It's a good strategy.
We should actually do that.
Yeah.
Our faces are on it. They're on each piece of popcorn.
Whoa.
I
would-
hand paint
That'd
them.
be so
We
obnoxious
3D
to
printed
manufacture
each
that.
piece of popcorn.
Jeez.
Now eat it.
Ugh.
You jerk.
Don't eat 3D printed stuff. It's gross. That makes it sound like I've tried it.
It
I was
really
gonna
does.
say, wait a second, what?
That was the plan. I have not eaten 3D printed anything. I have 3D printed things before. It's kind of cool.
Why didn't
Did
you eat
3D
it? That's
print
what I
yourself
want
a
to know.
sandwich?
No, I thought about it. Just kidding. It's plastic. It's gross. Don't do it.
Well,
It's
maybe
like
by the time this episode comes out, you'll
Today.
be able to 3D print other kinds
I
of
guess
food. Yeah,
I guess
today.
we have like
right
printers for organic
Right now.
material. So
Why?
now. You're
like,
just not aware of it.
I guess haven't we like printed organs or something? Isn't that a thing that's happened?
That's bonkers if that's the case.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Like there are printers for like organic material that
Wow.
like have been used. So like I guess you could probably do that for something edible
That's cool.
if you want to. Don't do it out of human fake material though.
You
That'd
know,
be weird.
Don't make
Oh
one
my
out of
god,
plastic.
you could like enable pseudo cannibalism that way. You could like print.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
I was like, what? Have a great day.
Enjoy editing this one.
Peace
So
out.
sorry.
That was fun. Pseudo cannibalism.
Jeez. I don't know why I thought that, but I was like, whoa. My brain went